Hi, ladies and gents. Welcome to the BBC Spews Live. It is the 27th of September, 2022. Get in. We're still here. Somehow, we're still here. Before I get started with this one, I want to show you. I mean, let's be honest. It was pestering me because I didn't do my job yesterday. I'll read you the comment. Philip Cook, he sent me a message and said, Matt, you were just about to talk about the nonsense and then you didn't talk about it. If you do your live stream on Tuesday, I hope you'll let everyone see what you started talking about. I'm not a chat streamer or video maker, but you are good at what you do. I hope you'll finish the story. Cheers, Phil. So Philip Cook, I mean, he didn't even send me the link. Philip, he didn't even send me the link, mate. So I've got to do all this work myself. But Philip Cook, as instructed, I'm telling them about this story. And I think the story that he's talking about was one that Salty Cracker made 2 days ago, September 26th, no, yesterday, about a Chattanooga Pride Youth Day at Wanderlinger Brewing Co. So I'm going to try and look for it now because I can't. He did, like I said, he didn't send me the video. So I'm just going to have a quick look on Twitter and type in Chattanooga Brewing Co. And we'll see if I can. Find it, shall we? You know, I've actually been to Chattanooga. Spent quite a lot of time out there. Because when I was working in Alabama, there we go. Yeah, I did find it. Happy days. So I can show you it. There you go, Philip. I've done all the legwork. I'm showing you. I'm showing it. This is the video he said he didn't send me, directed me towards. If you haven't watched Salty Cracker's streams for yesterday, you might not have seen it. But let me see if I can blow it up a bit. I'll tell you what, this is the one I should have been talking about, but I went onto a bit of a tirade because I was so annoyed by it. And then you guys pushed me off in another direction and we missed it. But yeah, this is it's probably the worst one I've seen. Let's have a quick laugh at it then, shall we? Look at that. Basically encouraging the little girl to sort of rub his crotch. I don't even know. I can't believe that the bloke at the front who's having a pint didn't see that and just leap to his fucking feet and stick the crust straight on the nose of the mermaid that was doing it, because it's actually unbelievable, isn't it? That. Oh my God! I don't want to see your pork sword, love. Don't want that. That is just fucked up. It's repeated as well, isn't it? It's over and over. I'm not playing it in full again, but just look at that. It's like a few times. Any adult who's spent any time with children has at some point been the victim of an unfortunate boot in the bollocks. You know, everyone, that's happened to everyone, where you've been playing with your nephew or something. It certainly happened to me when he was like 4 or something. I was Sam and I was like play fighting with him. And then I turned to talk to my brother and he just punched me in my left knacker, right? Everyone's had some form of interaction with a child where they're too young to really know what they're doing, and they'll basically go a little bit too close to your groin, at which point normal humans laugh and go, whoa, don't go there, son, or don't go there, lass. That's what you do. That's what normal people do when you're in polite company. What went on there was just fucking, if it goes on for more than 2 seconds, that's when people will go, hang on, this creepy fucker's enjoying this. Do you know what I mean? You just know it's beyond the pale. You don't need to have it explained to you by me. You just know it's beyond the pale. Normal people, that type of thing can happen with a little kid, and it happens, and then half a second later, with just a burn on your lap, you go, well, getting a bit too close for comfort there, and that's the end of it. That's fucking creepy and weird, to the point where burn the brewery down. It's like, like I said, if that happened somewhere rough up north, like Hartlepool, within about 3 seconds, an angry mob would have formed, and there'd be loads of angry monkey hangers with burning torches and brands and nooses, haranguing the mermaid out of town, which is good because it's by the sea, so you can fuck off quick, just straight in the jump in the pit off the pier and away you go. But that's just really, really fucked up, isn't it? So I definitely went. I must have been to Chattanooga Brewing Company. I'm out of interest. I'm going to Google that because I want to know if I've been. I've been to Chattanooga on the piss loads of times. See outside. Oh yeah, I've been in there. Fucking yes, I've been in there. Don't go. I won't be going back. To be honest, it's unlikely that I will go back. I was going there because I live nearby. It was all right, but not the best place I've been out on the piss. I went there for a football game and I met the Middlesbrough under-21s team when I was living in Huntsville, Alabama. It's only a couple of hours drive. By some bizarre coincidence, the Borough under-21s team were there, so we drove down and I spent a long weekend in Chattanooga. Nice place. How was I dressed? Yeah, when I went there, I was wearing a Middlesbrough shirt and a pair of shorts. That was how I was dressed. And nobody was allowed to touch my genitals, not even my wife. I'm English, once a week. Does me, love. So that's fucking shocking. There you go, Neil. I hope that cheered you up. I hope that give you a rage boner for the weekend. For the weekend, it's only Wednesday. No, Tuesday, even worse. Oh, God, here's another one, look. Here's another one by that twat Bill Crystal. The celebration of Maloney's victory on the American right is striking. It's one thing for American conservatives in the past to have excused authoritarianism abroad. It's another to flat out proclaim admiration for it and embrace it as a model for us. It's conservatism. It's allowed. This is how many times have I got to make this point? It doesn't matter what you think, Owen Jones. It doesn't matter what Laura Kussenberg or some ridiculous far left ideologue has to say about it. There is nothing wrong with being conservative. The British government has been, they might only be conservative in name, but they still call themselves conservative. And there's no furore about it. You're allowed to be a conservative. The Spectator's a conservative magazine. Douglas Murray's a conservative. Thomas Sowell's a conservative. Ted Cruz is a conservative. It's boring. You're allowed to be a conservative. I know these fucking lunatics talk as if you're a conservative, you should be rounded up and shot in the head, all in the name of tolerance. But there's nothing controversial about being conservative. It's boring. And that's all she is. I actually found a good video of her. I want to play one of her giving one of her rare speeches in English. It's the annoying thing about fucking YouTube, though. It always starts back at the beginning when I want to. It's all right. I remember 111. It was. Listen to this great speech in English.
Our main enemy today is the globalist drift of those who view identity in all its forms to be an evil to be overcome, and constantly acts to shift real power away from the people to supranational entities headed by supposedly enlightened elites. It means that whether the false Democrats like it or not, national conservatives in every latitude are actually the only real Democrats, because it is only by defending the nation state that we defend the political sovereignty that belongs to the citizens of that state.
What a brilliant 60 seconds that was. It's exactly spot on every word she said. The people that allegedly call themselves Democrats in this country are authoritarian, which is why they're calling her a boring, middle-of-the-road conservative, fascist, Nazi, racist. Fascist, Nazi, racist. It's because people like Billy Boy Crystal there, IQ of a pork pie, Mr. Crystal, they're calling you, it's like all hypocrites They're calling you what they are. They are everything they accuse you of. This woman is a Democrat in the truest sense of the word, not the fake Democrat Party that says it's democratic. I mean, they should rename that party in the United States. I know there's not many parties just called the Democrat Party in around the rest of the world. The American lexicon, I've always said, is incorrect. I might be biased because I'm now an American, but I've obviously, my formative years were all in the UK. And obviously that's why they call them your formative years, right? It's what formed my opinions when I was young and growing up. They're not democratic in the United States, the Democrat Party. The Liberal Party is the Conservative Party in Australia. And that's the term that I like to use. I consider myself a liberal. The people in this country don't know the fucking meaning of the word. And a very high percentage of the average Joe in the United States doesn't know the meaning of the word. I am a liberal. I'm a socially liberal conservative. Those things aren't polar opposite of each other. I believe that people should be left alone, unmolested, as much as possible by the state. And yet I see the need for history to be preserved, to conserve the things that were given to us by our forebears. So that makes me a liberal, socially liberal conservative. Not even remotely controversial. Like I said, people like me were okay with gay marriage in the 1990s because I don't care what grown-ups want to do in the privacy of their own home. Yes, because I'm a conservative-leaning chap. I don't want to see bloke gallivanting down the high street dressed like the gimp off Pulp Fiction, sucking hot spunk out of his boyfriend's arse outside fucking Dixon's on a Saturday afternoon. That's a few steps too far. That's where you start being a bit weird. But am I happy for grown men to fucking chew each other off in the bedroom? Of course they can. Got nothing to do with me, lads. Got nothing to do with me. That's liberal. These fucking barmy bastards, like Bill Crystal there, saying, oh yeah, you disagree with me? You're a fascist, and you know what you got to do to a fascist? You got to fucking hurt them. It's basically what they're doing. It's what they're always doing. You might not remember, those of you in the UK, because you have to follow US politics quite closely. But there was an incident a few years back in Charlottesville where a bloke, he didn't, I don't think he set out to purposely run people over because he only wiped one woman out. But he obviously did panic and he was a trouble causer. And when they surrounded his car, he just fucking floored it and he killed a woman. He was instantly lambasted as a murderer and he didn't get bail and he got, basically it was headline news for 3 weeks and they never shut up about it and he got smashed. A similar thing happened last week whereby a Democrat activist ran a young lad over who was a Trump voter. And he's out and about now. And the media hasn't even talked about it. But nobody, and none of the mainstream media have talked about it. The only channel that's talked about it is Fox News. CNN, MSNBC, none of them. Because everything is political now. Like people, we keep saying the personal is political. They are not interested in telling you the news unless they can use it as a vehicle for power. And that's just a fact. You can see it in everything. You can see it in everything. If the person that was getting gobbled off a 12-year-old girl in a church car park looked like me, the person who did it would be in prison the next day. But if the person who's doing it happens to have a bit of a tan or is maybe wearing some religious garb, like that dirty old Muller who was in his 50s who was doing it, they let them get away with it. So it's true to say that the embattled minority are the bootneck and people that think like him. Everyone's against us. And they're trying to pass it off as the opposite. Ooh, the patriarchy's in charge. Ooh, they're in charge. Who's telling our side of the story? Who's against? You only have to look at your enemies if you want to know who's in charge and who's got the power. Who's telling our side of the story? It's not the BBC. It's not Channel 4. It's not Sky News. They're our enemies. They promote our destruction. They promote violence against us, and they ban and silence us whenever they can. Who's doing that? Just look at the quality of your enemies if you want to know how you're doing in life. And the people that are openly and aggressively against us, people like me, old-fashioned liberal-leaning people, is everything. It's the mechanism of the state. It's the mainstream media, the BBC, Channel 4, using taxpayers' money against us. All of Silicon Valley. Everybody's against us. And they have the audacity to say, ooh, the patriarchy's controlling our bodies. Laurie Penny, Afua Hirsch, Ash Sarkar, these rich, upper crust, spoiled women have got all the power, all the privilege, all the money, and they'll tell everybody that'll listen that you're the bad guy, Mr. White working class man, pulling 40 hours a week, living in a bed set, paying your taxes, paying your council tax, getting nothing for free. You are Boxer. You are Boxer. If for those of you that haven't read it or get the reference, obviously Boxer's the hard-working horse in Animal Farm. Poor old Boxer does everything that's asked of him. Just cracks on. The more work he needs to do, the more work he does. He pays his taxes. Well, not in the book. But the point is, if you're him, you're paying your taxes, you're pulling your pudding out, you're going to work 5 days a week, you're keeping the wheel of industry moving. You're paying your income tax, not a massive amount, but you're still paying. And who's taking? Who's got both fists in the cookie jar? Illegal immigrants. The staggering number of people in the United Kingdom that claim to be disabled. I mean, it is astounding how many people are apparently disabled in the United Kingdom. If the United Kingdom had as many disabled people as the numbers claim, you couldn't walk 10 seconds down any English high street without tripping over Stephen Hawking's twin brother. Every 10 seconds, you'd be like, oh, watch where you are going, cunt. Sorry, Steve too. Sorry. Every step you take, you'd be like, oh, dodging the disabled. You couldn't go 10 foot without walking past someone with a foot growing out of their arse. The streets of the UK would look like something from Dr. Mengelé's laboratory. It'd be the island of Dr. Moreau walking down fucking Oxford Street. It staggers me. Let's talk about that. There's something we can talk about. Let's do some economics, shall we? You notice, so every time I type in BBC, the UK's gay black icons pops up. They must be trolling me. Have you noticed that? Every time. I don't get it. In fact, why don't we do that? That might be funny. If I just go back on the thumbnail and type in BBC, let's see what I get. You get the UK's gay black icons are worthy of recognition. I'm sure Google does it on purpose. I've cleared my fucking cookies loads of times. Every time I type in BBC, this pops up on my screen. I'm sick of seeing it. I'm sick of seeing it. They're worthy. Yeah, okay, we know. I'm sick of fucking hearing it. 50%. What, is that the disabled, Kenny? Is it 50% are on disability in Scotland? Really? What, land of the Mongols? Is it? I wouldn't be surprised. 50% of Scotland's disabled. That's what's ringing Bucky, lads. If you just exist off Bucky and Super Kings, eventually you end up on disability. Understandable. So, right, I've had enough of this. What else do I get? The UK's gay black icons are worthy of recognition. Yeah, no one's telling their story. Poor bastards. Yeah, the poor gay black icons. Nobody's talking about them. Oh, there's a good one. Searching for my slave roots. Brilliant. Reparations. Get in. What's he getting reparations for? Why? Some British dude. Malik. Fucking reparations for what? We've already paid them, Malik, you silly twat. In fact, let's read this. I haven't read this one for a while. Let's do it, shall we? It'll be funny. It'll be funny because it'll be totally illogical and absolutely ridiculous. So let's read it. Right, here we are. Show me the money. I've never been a victim. And I think random white men from Leeds should pay me money, even though they've done me a favour by allowing me to emigrate to a country that doesn't reek of shit. So let's have a laugh at this this traditional Englishman. It says, the chances are I'm related to the slave owners and the slaves, just like the man who helped start this journey for me, Andrew Watson. It's my belief that his mother was a free black woman, possibly the daughter of one of Peter Miller Watson's business colleagues in Demerara. There were such black women in Guyana who were wealthy in their own right, usually the children of white merchants. But many more women did not have a choice about having sex with the men who worked for Sandbach Tin, any more than they had a choice about working on the plantation or being shipped from West Africa. Slave owners were compensated after slavery was abolished in Britain. They were paid an estimated £17 billion in today's money. The slaves got nothing. Well, yeah, I'll stop you there, son. The slaves got nothing. The slaves got fucking freed. How's about that? You think that's nothing? The slaves got fucking freed, son. Nothing. What do you mean, nothing? You were working 12-hour shifts without pay for fucking 10 years, and then you get freed because the British taxpayers gave £17 billion to a load of rich blokes. What do you mean you got nothing? Not only did you not get nothing, you got probably the greatest gift a man can ever receive: freedom. And slavery, as I keep pointing out, I'm sick of talking about it, but I'm sick of mentioning the obvious, because the reason I'm sick is you would think that everybody who can read knows this, but apparently they don't, because the average Joe has got the IQ of a pull-along duck. But slavery wasn't invented by the English. It wasn't invented by George Washington. These people make it like it's 1776, George Washington. Right, lads, we've got our independence. What next? Let's fucking invent something. I've got an idea. Oh, tell us, George. Light bulb, PC, what are you going to invent? What? I'm going to call this thing, right? What you do is you get a person and you own them, yeah? And then you treat them like a fucking table. And if you want to like lend them to your mates or like sell them to other people, you just can. Fucking hell, that's ingenious, George. What should we call it? I'm going to call it slavery. Slav, isn't that where the word comes from? Oh, no, sorry. You just invented that word, didn't you? Yeah, it was me. Oh, nice one. That's not what happened. It was literally the norm for all of documented human history. Like all of it. I made a video years ago about the Egyptians. It wasn't built by unionized LGBT labour. The pyramids. I think the Great Pyramids of Giza was loads of blokes with fucking purple hair, fat birds with pink hair and metal shit through the nose. Oh, we've done 4 minutes work. I need a fucking tea break, like them lying bastards who work for Amazon. Again, I don't want to shill for Mr. Bezos here. He's got his own problems, but who do you think's being the most honest when it comes to Amazon? Everybody wants to work for Amazon. They pay you well. And you get healthcare and you get a 401k. I mean, you can get this from just looking on Google, just looking for a job. If you live near an Amazon distribution warehouse, you get a good salary, you get a 401k, you get paid vacation, you get sick leave. You basically get everything because he's a big company and he knows he's going to get neat shit off the lefties. And yet they say, oh my God, you see some big fat, sorry, they say, oh my God, because obviously they're eating when they say this. Oh my God, I was working 14 hours. I didn't even have time to take a break. You lying fat fucker. You lying bastard. I've worked, since I moved to America, I've worked basically all of it. 8 years, 9 years now I've been here. I've had several jobs. And every job I've had, most people have been fucking useless. This is another thing why I'm conservative. I reckon 50% of employees now are useful. It's why I miss the military so much, because in the Corps, 99% of the lads who worked alongside you were capable and confident and hardworking and useful. Out here, it's about 50-50. You all know it. Any one of you who's done a normal job, you know it. Loads of people are fucking useless because we don't live in a meritocracy anymore. You can't sack people. You have to tolerate useless employees. 50% useless. And now I have employees now, and I have to administer these fucking useless twats. And 50% of them are useless. That's not a good ratio. Do you know what I mean? Again, obviously, I'm not having a look at them all, am I? 50%. Some of them are sound. One of my boys, Vince, he's a good lad. Always on time, never calls out sick. But some of them are fucking useless. Fucking useless, and you have to tolerate them. So when these twats have a go at Amazon, oh yeah, fucking Bezos, I worked 15 hours yesterday and I didn't have a break. You're 25 stone. I don't believe you've ever worked 15 hours in a day in your fucking life. Everyone lies all the time now. Nurses, oh, it's hard work being a nurse. Well, I know nurses, and they tell me, I'll tell you what, Matty, there's some right fat, lazy bitches work with me. My best mate's wife was a nurse at Middlesbrough Captain Cook Hospital. And the story she tells me, oh my God, Matthew, I work with some right fat hoppers. They can't do anything. All they do is smoke and eat cakes. The average person's fucking useless. So when they say, oh, yeah, oh, Bezos, he's a bastard, him. He isn't. You get a fair wage, and when you're getting a fair wage, you're meant to do a fair day's work. The commies just want to do half of that. They want to do, you give me a fair wage and paid time off and sick pay and a pension, and I do as little fucking work as possible. And I be a big fat knacker. Like, well, you've all seen, look at that, look, I'm clueless. I've read accounts of how Amazon, oh, fucking hell. What, you've read accounts? Must be true then, must be true. Yeah, you've read accounts. Well, we've all read accounts. What am I telling you? I've read the accounts. This is what I'm telling you. I've read the accounts, Cass. Oh my God, I didn't have time for a piss. Bullshit, Mr. Handman. I'd love to, you know what? I might even get a job at Amazon just to fucking show you how it's done. Because if I work in one of them Amazon distribution places, I do what I usually do, which is work at my normal rate, which is quick, because I'm not a lazy bastard. And then within 6 months get promoted and then have to deal with these retards. What do you mean you've read accounts? Well, I've read accounts. What am I talking about it for? Because I've read the accounts. They're lies. I've never worked at a company in America where they're absolute slave drivers because it's illegal. The first job I got when I got my green card was working in a big American. I was doing the deliveries for a big American chain called Corner Bakery. And nobody gets treated like shit in America. They've got too many laws. There it was sound. I liked it. It was menial work. And I'm sure a lot of people would say it was hard work. I used to start at 6. So I'd be there at 5 to 6 every morning. Yeah, because that's what I'm 5 minutes early when I have to start work. Weird that, innit? Dressed correctly. Showered, because let me tell you, the average employee smells like a fucking sack of arseholes. Apparently, the average employee in America gets showered less often than a stray dog. Like, so I was on time, I was dressed correctly, and I didn't smell like 10,000 homeless man's balls, right? And then I got the deliveries and I wrote the date that came in and the item with my little black marker pen I always had in my pocket, and I put them in the correct place, and I would bam, bam, bam as fast as I could, because I thought, it's good this, I like hard work. It's getting me out the house nice and early. It's getting me some exercise. And if I work hard to put it away quickly, I'll get a bit of a sweat on. And I used to try and get my heart rate up. And the bosses were amazing, like, fucking hell, Matty's a good grafter. We have to get him in. In fact, there was supposed to be other people doing it, and I ended up just doing the deliveries every day because they were like, yeah, he's a grafter. Because I like to work. I take pleasure from it because I'm a conservative. Conservatives see the value in hard work. You tell me to do a job and I do it properly. Woke, communist, what's a polite word for them? Cunts. View everything as exploitation. The professional victims. So when they turn up at work and they say, yeah, your job's to put all them deliveries away, they go, like Kevin and Perry. It's so unfair. So unfair. I've got a better plan. Why don't you just pay me? You just pay me doing a line because they need to have drugs all the time. You just pay me and give me holiday and sick pay, and I do as little work as possible. How about that? In fact, and we've all had one of them, get Matty to do all the deliveries, but I can work with him and your pay's the same. No, in fact, I get more because I'm a woman, and I'll just watch him. That's fair, innit? That's fair. No, it's not. No, it's not. You degenerate commie rat. These people do nothing. They do nothing. So, yeah. What a load of bollocks. I've read accounts. Fucking do one. We've all read accounts. We've all read accounts. I can do accounts. The average communist can't because they can't count to 4. It's just ludicrous to suggest to anybody in this chat or anybody who lives in the real world that your average employee in 2022, when all the big companies have been legislated into the fucking ground, is getting the piss took out of them. Oh, they're getting exploited. It's 2022. It's not 1962. They're getting exploited. In 2022, really? Amazon? There is no massive company in the UK where they're getting shamelessly exploited. It's not happening. And everybody wants to work for them. Look at, you all seen the video I made about that unbelievably lazy bint who worked for LinkedIn. You all seen that, didn't you? If you didn't see it, go and find it. Because that bitch did less work than the ship's cat. It really was. In fact, I'll find it in case. I've had a few newbies turn up lately. Let me just quickly find it for you because, oh, that's a doozy. To use an Americanism, that's a fucking doozy. Seriously, I could do more work than her if the boss said to me, Matty, tomorrow, I want you to come in and just walk on your hands all day. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and also wear a blindfold and some ear defenders. And also you've got to be smoking the whole time. I could do more work than her, I'm telling you. Because these big companies now in the United States have been legislated to the point of no return. So these insufferable woke tech girls can get away with it. They can get paid a good salary and get all these benefits, and they don't do any work. Yeah, there's the video. For those of you that haven't seen it, go and watch that. That's the typical big American company. LinkedIn, average, big, wealthy American corporation that's been legislated into the fucking ground. And that bitch does less work than the ship's cat. She does nothing. She's as much use as a chocolate fire guard. There's no point in her. She's getting a salary and she's not doing anything. They are, as one of you wise people in the chat said, social parasites. They bring nothing to the table. Nothing. Anyway, there was a nice big rant about, just because I've read a lot about people slagging off Bezos lately, and I'm telling you, there is no way that working for Amazon, they're not allowed to go for a piss and they work 15 hours a day and, oh my God, it's so hard. Oh, it's so hard. Bollocks. Company like Amazon, they get plenty of fucking paid time off. There's probably discounted food in the canteen. Most places I've worked, you just buy your own dinner, don't you, or bring it in from home. I guarantee it's cheap going in that the work canteen at Amazon. It'll be discounted. It'll be sound. It'll be sound. And if I worked there within 6 months, I'd be the boss, and then I'd have to deal with these fat fucking loafers. I mean, you see the people complaining on Twitter. You can just tell by looking at them. You can just tell by looking at them. This is like 3 instant tell-alls when you're looking at someone who's a prospective employee. Just 3. I'm somewhat experienced with hiring now. Personally, I like to do a credit score because get the credit score. If someone's shit with money, they're a shit employee. I know this is quite hard and fast, but I'm just, giving you the broad brush. Obviously, you make decisions based on individual people and how the interview goes and having a chat with them. But listen, if someone's shit with money, they're a shit employee. So you run a quick background check the references and do a credit score. If the credit score's fucking awful, it means they're not conscientious, so they'll be a shit employee. Number 2, if somebody smells like a sack of arseholes, they're not conscientious, so they'll be a shit employee. If they turn up late and they look like they wash less than a stray dog, don't fucking employ them. And 3, if they are morbidly obese, have clammy skin walking up 4 steps and basically look like they've never done a day's fucking hard work in their entire life. It's not hard, is it? If some big, fat, spotty, teeth like a witch doctor's necklace, fucking monstrosity, with, you know, when the people are mega fat, have you noticed the soles of the shoes are on a weird angle? I always check out the back of the shoes when they're leaving the interview and just see. If you can just tell that they've got that weird way of walking where it's like, oh, this is what? Walking, fucking here, walking. You can sort of tell. You can pick up social cues. You can tell by the angle of the shoes. You can tell by the gait. You can tell by how clammy they are after using the fucking elevator, because it's hard pressing buttons when you've got fingers like sausage rolls. Oh, God, fucking hell, these buttons are well hard to press. There's loads of things you can tell. So don't tell me Amazon employees work the tits off. Don't believe it. And I don't care how many reports you've read. All right, done. That was a total rant. I've gone off on a tangent again. It's your fault, chat. You send me down this road. Anyway, should we just finish this fucking drivel? Last year, Glasgow University announced it would pay 20 million in reparations to its sword for its links to Glasgow University. Glasgow University. Poor old Glaswegians. Have they not suffered enough? The citizens of Glasgow. Have you ever been to Glasgow? I would rather live inside the Jolly Green Giant's arsehole. There's no worse place to be than Glasgow. And those poor bastards are getting it again. And as I've pointed out, if you're British, you've already paid your reparations, thanks. You've already paid them. Paid 17 billion pounds to the slave owners to buy the freedom for all these people that you've never fucking met and you don't know and you don't owe anything, right? My great-great-great-great-grandparents, whoever it was, probably longer, which is why it's a bit ridiculous that everyone's having a pop. They paid reparations fucking ages ago. So I've paid, mate. Great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa Taylor's paid. So you can suck me balls. How's that sound? Suck my festering left one. I don't owe you a penny, fatty. In fact, considering you're a social parasite and I've been paying income tax for the last 25 years, I reckon you owe me a few fucking quid. How's that sound? These recent migrants who turned up since, Tony Blair invited them all in, they're all on the NHS. They're all using the public schooling system. They're all driving on the roads. My family's been paying their income tax for 10 generations. Since they invented income tax, we've been paying it. So why am I not owed money? I'm owed money more recently than you're owed money. Fucking Malik. Malik came to England in the last 40 years, probably his mum and dad. And they've only just started paying income tax at best. At best. We've all seen the reality TV programs where they go back to Pakistan with about 60 grand in the fucking money belt, don't they? Well, everyone's seen that. The local corner shop owner getting on a flight at Leeds Bradford to go back to Islamabad, and he's got £40,000 shoved up his arse. Yeah, I think you owe me money, mate. I think you owe me money. You don't pay income tax. My family's paid income tax for 10 generations. So suck me fucking balls. How's that sound? So that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. In fact, it's so ridiculous, it's hilarious. My sides. I've never read anything as fucking hilarious as Glasgow University. Poor bastards. Imagine being a fucking pipe fitter in Glasgow and now you've got to chip in. This is public money if it's universities in the UK. Imagine you've got to chip in to pay reparations to some fucking twat who's already been taking the piss out of you. If you were from Ghana and you moved to Scotland in 2009, you're already taking the piss out of me. You're already getting money off me. I'm paying to educate your kids. I'm paying for you to use the National Health Service. I'm paying, and you still want more. I think you're pulling my pisser, old bean. Green King said it's going to pay reparations. Well, I won't be drinking Green King IPA anymore, for fuck's sake. I like Green King IPA. It's a nice, steady session drink, that. Well, by session drink, I mean you can drink 30 cans of it and not get pissed, so maybe I'm not missing out too much. CARICOM represents 15 Caribbean nations, has called for meaningful reparations. Give us money, give us money, give us money. We've already paid. We've already paid. In fact, you owe us money. You owe me money, you dirty, scruffy twat. I'm sick of paying for everything. I've never been on the dole. All my life, I've never been on the dole. Bootneck's never had a single penny on the dole. When I left the corps, I lived off my savings for about 6 weeks and then I got a job. Proud man. Easy. I've never done it. All you arseholes, basically, they should just if Liz Truss is going to get called a fascist, she might as well start acting like one. Pull up everybody's national insurance contributions and income tax contributions. And if any of the scruffy twats that moved to UK in the last 30 years haven't paid at least, I don't know, I'll be fair, £1,000 a year in the green, fucking deport them. How's that sound? I've told you guys, this is also a very liberal principle because I don't judge people of what they look like or where they hail from. I judge them by how much use they are to my society. And if you're a bloke who turns up in 2008, like a lot of the Eastern Europeans lad did, and you've been grafting your ass off, and your income tax contributions are there in green every single year for the last 12, you can stay, mate. You've done a grand job and you've proved your commitment to encouraging our services to flourish. But if you're one of these fuckers who moved here in the last 20 years and is just in the grey market, in the cash economy, and it turns out you're paying about £11 a year in tax whilst leeching everything else out of us because you've got 8 kids and they're all at public school, and you use the NHS for everything because, funny old thing, when you're brought up on a diet of fucking rice and piss, your health's not the best. You're taking the piss out of me. Anyway, I'm ranting and this is going on too long. I will say there was one comment I wanted to address yesterday. And after that little rant about how I view the world and think people should be taken as they are on a case-by-case basis, based on how much effort they put in and how much use they are to society, I think it's linked to what I've been talking about because, let me just quickly look for this comment. I want to sort of take issue with it. Basically, someone was calling me a lefty yesterday. And I took issue with it, and I want to respond to it if I can find the fucking thing. Let's have a look. Yeah, here we go. Caleb. Here's the comment. Caleb. So this is linked to what I'm having a rant about there. I want to address it. I want to talk about it because I don't want people thinking like that Matty is in any way advocating this ridiculous game whereby you judge people based off anything other than ideology, because that's the way I roll. I'm a conservative. I like conservative people. And I don't like ridiculous lefty arseholes. So where's the fucking comments gone here? Here we are. Here we go. So this is the comment I want to address. It says, we love you, Matty, but you don't care deeply about these poor girls. And then straight after say you don't care about gender, race and age, where you're from, etc. On what grounds do you care if not that they are from and belong here, are young and vulnerable and are just, it's not actually, am I being a retard or is this not written very well? On what grounds do you care if not that they are from and belong here, are young and vulnerable and are just girls who should have been protected from this stuff? Government disregard for the rules is a different issue. The act itself is horrific, but you have to accept that you care more about it when it happens to ours compared to when it happens halfway around the world. At the end of the day, if you can't distinguish between us, the group you belong to, and them, those who want to see our destruction, then functionally you're just a leftist pretending as though you're against all this stuff and would rather go back to the 90s leftism, not appreciating the fact that all this stuff was happening during the 90s and even beyond that too. I was raising this over this, mate, so I apologise for the long comment. Shit, I like what those girls went through is what happens when you don't play the game. Every other group is money. I don't know, bro. So basically, Caleb there is saying I'm basically a lefty because I don't play identity politics. And this is the point I want to make. Some of the best people that we all like to listen to on YouTube are of the identitarian left, if all they see is what they are, right? Some of the best ones, there's Posey Parker's a feminist. Watch her all the time. Douglas Murray happens to be gay. Thomas Sowell and what's the black girl? Everyone. Candace Owens. So there's four. I mean, I've got nearly everything. I've got there's gays, lesbians, black people, black women, everything. What really matters is your ideology. Donald Trump was the same. Donald Trump liked black conservatives, and he didn't like straight white men that were woke soy boys. I feel like I should point this out because I am, as Sadwings Raging says, a classical leftist tosser. So, I've long said that I follow data, metrics. I'm a man of logic. I'm an ENTP. I like an argument, but I like data. I like logic, right? And as far as I can see, there is still no requirement for us to turn to extremism. And there's two reasons why I want to avoid it. First of all, if you embrace that, you are just the other side of the coin of the woke. The woke play these tribal games. I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be the mirror image of them. And secondly, it should be self-evident that we don't need to be that extreme. The idea that you can start playing these games where you judge people by what they are or where they're from or what they look like is just demonstrably wrong. Two of my friends from when I was a kid, one of my best mates in primary school was an Indian lad called Neil. But both his mother and his father were immigrants from India and spoke with very strong Indian accents. And then in high school, one of my good mates was called Atif, and he was of Pakistani descent. And he's the one I've told you guys about who in absolutely no way was he culturally a follower of the religion of many, many pieces. And when his parents said he was supposed to marry one of his fucking cousins, he told us that they actually got a list out of people that they were trying to marry him off to. And he said, fucking weirdos. And he fucked off to Thailand for 6 months. And then when he'd come back, he had a Thai bird with him and said, there you go, I'm married now, tough luck. There is nothing you can say to me in current events that will convince me that I should start playing their games and start saying, right, if somebody happens to have been originally, the family is from India or the family is from Ghana, we should just treat them the same as a war communist. There's no part of that that makes sense, and there's no part of it that I agree with. If in 20 years' time, right, the people of my homeland are facing extinction, then maybe we need to revisit it, and we may regretfully need to start acting more like the communists and actually saying, yeah, okay, we'll have to start looking at maybe encouraging people of a certain region to start shagging each other more or what have you. But for the time being, all you need to do is take an inch step to the right of old school classical conservatives, and you'll fix the problem without doing anything hasty. What am I talking about? I've told you this. 3 things you could do that would make the UK 10 times more tolerable. Crime would go through the floor. The NHS would be easy. It'd be 1, aggressively enforce existing immigration processes. That's all you need to do. You don't need to do anything weird. You don't need to do anything unfair. Every single person who is in the UK illegally can be instantly deported back to the country of origin. Done. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands that would get rid of, but it'd be a pretty large number, right? So there's one. Maybe we get rid of 300,000 people. That is a fucking low ball, right? All right, well, let's just say 500,000. That's a low ball. So you get rid of 500,000 people, and all of a sudden, there's a bit more room to breathe. There's a bit more room to breathe. The police are under a lot less pressure. The NHS is under a lot less pressure. Now what? New legislation. Anybody who was granted citizenship or a green card, but has committed a violent crime, again, I'm being liberal. I'm not going to get people deported for parking tickets. Anybody who's been arrested for a violent crime in the last 20 years who was given citizenship or given a green card, right of abode, or a council house, or any state assistance, who was found guilty of a violent crime, papers ripped up, all benefits stopped, deported. There's another 100,000 sorted. Easy. Don't need to start doing anything drastic. And then 3, and this is another easy one, just cap the benefit system. Just say until you've reached a threshold, maybe 5 years of uninterrupted income tax payments where you're in the green, you're not allowed any benefits. You're not allowed them. You don't get dole, you don't get job seekers allowance, you don't get child tax credits, you don't get jack shit. You don't get a bag rat. You don't get a fucking sausage. 3 things that would instantly make it less acceptable, less palatable to people coming over. You'd be talking about probably about 1 million people that just fuck off in the first month. All of a sudden, bit of breathing space, bit less congestion, bit less. Well, with no passports, that is a problem. So to stop that happening, you get the Navy in the channel and police it. It wouldn't even take that much effort. 1 commando unit. The guys, whoever's on standby this year, get them doing it. 30 or 40 rigid raiders, a few dozen drones, 2 carriers. That's all you'd need. It would be easy. All of these things would be easy. This is what I keep saying. If you have the will, it's easy. You could do it in a month. If I was the Prime Minister, I'd do all that in a month. Bash. Easy. Enforce it. Enforce existing laws. Introduce a couple of new ones. You don't need to do anything drastic. You don't need to start being like the walk and sucking people into amorphous groups and saying they're all the same, treat them all the same. You don't need to do anything weird. You just need to enforce the existing laws and everything will get better. So that's all I want to say about that. I don't want people thinking I'm an identitarian because I despise communism. I despise collectivism. I'm not playing that game. I'm an individualist. I take people as individuals. I don't judge them by what they are or where they came from. I judge them by how they behave. Don't even judge them by what they say because you can't trust people. They lie all the time. Don't watch what they say. Watch what they do. Watch what they do. And I'll live and die by that rule. Maybe if things get worse when I'm cranky and it's 60 and Britain's on fire, well, maybe then I'll take a few more steps to the right. But until then, I'm more than happy to carry on being a reasonable centrist lefty tosser because I refuse to start playing the same game as the people that I absolutely despise. All right? Yeah, well, that's bollocks. I don't care what they call us. I don't care what they call us. You should have figured that one out by now, 1984. Jimmy's not far right. Giorgia Meloni's not far right. Fuck them. They can call you whatever they want. You can call me Jane. I don't care. Don't care what they say. You don't care, Ross. I like to think what I've just said for 5 minutes proves that I do. We just have different definitions for caring. And I don't think extremism leads to a good place. In the long run, it will fuck us all if we start embracing that shit. Right. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you all. Sadly, I'm at work tomorrow, so there will be no stream. Oh, God. And I think I'm in Thursday, Friday as well. I'll try and pre-record something. I don't think I can stream for the rest of the week, but I'll pre-record something. All right? Yeah. Like I said, she's about as far right as my undescended left testicle. All right. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you all very soon. Toodle pip. Cheers.